Hello, televiewers on Mamina Prime Television. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Once again, it's our favorite bilingual program, The Brief, where we always get to dig several layers beneath the major headlines as captured by newspapers. On today's edition of the program, we are reading in the papers that bishops of Cameroon have raised alarm over rising extrajudicial killings across the national territory. We shall talk about that in this edition of the program. The bishops raised the alarm. That was during the 48th plenary of bishops of Cameroon who were meeting in Yaoundé yesterday. That was during the opening at the National Episcopal Conference in Yaoundé. The bishop says there is a lot of killings in Cameroon and the government has to do something. We shall also talk about backstabbing and of course other practices that are ongoing at the level of the Senate. We are talking about those that want to get to the Bureau of the Senate. And of course, the Guardian Post newspaper carried out an investigative report that revealed that some of those newly appointed and elected senators are forming groups to do lobbying as well as using other means to get to the Bureau of the Senate. We shall talk about that in this edition of the program, what those senators are doing to get themselves positioned at the level of the upper house of parliament. Etape Quentin is here with me this morning. Let's have what he gathered for us in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Etape.
Good morning, Lasha. Good morning, everyone. Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue dans ce programme d'information concernant la revue de presse bilingue de ce matin. Alors, on va commencer en politique. Inscription sur les listes électorales, la solution digitale, c'est d'ailleurs ce que nous propose le journal à capitaux publics Cameroun Tribune. Cameroun Tribune, plus loin dans la page 5, explique que élection Cameroun a lancé le 15 avril dernier et ce jusqu'au 30 avril prochain sur les plateformes numériques une opération visant à enrôler le plus grand nombre de jeunes avant la clôture de la campagne annuelle prévue en août prochain. Dans une interview accordée à Cameroun Tribune, le directeur général des élections, Eric Sousset, revient sur l'importance et les modalités pratiques de cette initiative. Alors, ce sont des informations que vous retrouverez dans ce journal de Marie-Claire Nana en kiosque ce matin. Poursuivons cet exercice avec Mutation qui titre en sa grande une « Statut, les chercheurs se cherchent ». Selon nos confrères, en la page 5, en service au ministère de la Recherche scientifique et de l'innovation, ils ont crié à nouveau leur ras-le-bol hier face à un gouvernement qui tarde à accéder à leurs revendications. En tout cas, des explications vous sont livrées dans les colonnes et lignes de cette parution en kiosque ce matin. Parlons à présent stratégie générale d'organisation des administrations, rendre des institutions plus efficientes et performantes. C'est ce que nous propose d'ailleurs le journal Infomatin. Infomatin revient sur les objectifs de cet outil révolutionnaire dont l'atelier de validation a eu lieu le 18 février dernier à Komentou, près de Yaoundé, sous la présidence du ministre de la fonction publique et de la réforme administrative, Joseph Lé. Des informations à retrouver dans la page 3. Et puis le même journal au niveau de sa petite une, juste en bas de la grande, titre « Lutte contre la corruption des cliniques anticorruption pour combattre le fléau ». Le concept mis en place par la CONAC a été expliqué ce 18 avril à Bafoussam, région de l'Ouest, au cours d'un point de presse du président de la commission, Dieudonné Massigan. En tout cas, le compte rendu de ces assises sont à retrouver ou bien est à retrouver dans la page 4 de ce journal en kiosque ce matin. Parlons à présent économie, naturellement, avec le journal L'économie. Le quotidien titre à sa grande une: Assurance, les accidents corporels et maladies ont coûté près de 45,2 milliards en 2022. C'est ce qui ressort des données publiques par l'Association des sociétés d'assurance du Cameroun. En tout cas, ample information à retrouver dans la page 3 de ce journal en kiosque ce matin. Le même journal s'intéresse également à la filière cacao-café, à 6,5 milliards de francs CFA à débloquer pour soutenir les producteurs en 2023. Poursuivons en santé avec bien sûr le quotidien vert Éco-Santé. Éco-Santé qui nous informe ce matin sur l'hôpital régional de Ngaoundéré et titre 146 dialyses réalisées en 2 mois. Selon les explications à découvrir dans la page 5 de ce numéro en kiosque ce matin, au moment où la phase 1 de la couverture santé universelle est opérationnelle, le centre d'hémodialyse de l'hôpital régional de Ngaoundéré va jouer un rôle très important dans la prise en charge des maladies d'insuffisance rénale dans la région de la Damawa et même d'ailleurs. En l'espace de 2 mois seulement depuis sa mise en service, à en croire le directeur du dit centre, 18 patients ont déjà été reçus et 146 dialyses ont déjà été réalisées. Le même journal nous renvoie également comme information du côté de Garoua, notamment à l'hôpital militaire de cette région et un nouveau chef en la tête de cet institut sanitaire. Selon les explications à découvrir, notamment dans la page 5 également, il s'agit du médecin colonel Thierry Zobo qui a été installé dans ses nouvelles fonctions hier, 18 avril 2023, par le commandant de la 3e région de militaire, le général de brigade Aga Robinson. Donc, en tout cas, des informations sont à découvrir dans toute leur totalité en kiosque ce matin. Fin et stop pour cette revue de presse en langue française. Place actuellement à la découverte de ces tabloïds parus en kiosque ce matin avec toi, Lasha. Bonjour une fois de plus.
Thank you, Etape, Quentin. Good morning once again, televiewers on my Media Prime Television. Let's kickstart this morning with the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post is taking us to the upper house of Parliament to talk about what is actually happening as the third Senate legislature prepares to put in place the Bureau after receiving attributes, intrigues, backstabbing, lobbying galore as new Senate Bureau in view. Digging further as the third legislature of the Senate braces up to elect its Bureau in the days ahead, the upper house of Parliament we gathered, or the newspaper gathered, is from inside sources, is saying that there has been some intrigues, backstabbing and lobbying senators just to position themselves. This comes after the senators officially received the attributes that was during a solemn ceremony over the weekend in Yaoundé. In the light of this, some senators are said to be constituting lobbying groups and holding knocked-out meetings to outsmart their potential adversaries in the race to juicy Senate Bureau positions. Still in this edition of the newspaper, we are reading also that some of those senators are said to be even using unorthodox means like backstabbing to push their way into the new Senate Bureau. Full details on page 3 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. At the 48th plenary session, bishops of Cameroon raised alarm of rising extrajudicial killings in Cameroon. Digging further, Catholic bishops in Cameroon have raised an alarm over what they say is a sharp rise in extrajudicial killings witnessed nationwide in recent times. The bishops made the public announcement, or the worries, make their worries known to the public. That was in Yaoundé Tuesday, April 18, during the opening of that 48th plenary of bishops of Cameroon. They say there is a rise in the number of cases of people who have been extrajudicially killed in Cameroon. Still in this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper, at second edition of Cameroon Youth Conference, Minister urges youth to contribute in seeking solutions to national problems. The Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Muluna Fosu, has charged young Cameroonians to contribute to finding solutions to national problems affecting them. The minister made the call as he joined other government ministers to participate at the just ended second edition of the Cameroon Youth Conference in Yaoundé. We take you now to Municipal Updates. Municipal Updates newspaper is interested in the outing of the bishops of Cameroon this time around. The newspaper is focusing on the situation of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Bishops expressed delight, peace fast returning to the northwest and southwest regions. The observation was made yesterday during the opening of the 48th plenary session of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon in Yaoundé. Full details on page 3 of this edition of Municipal Updates newspaper. BIA appoints new board members at CDC and other corporations. See the decrease on page 6 of this edition of Municipal Updates newspaper, talking about the appointment of board members of some corporations or state corporations in the country by President Paul Biya. On to this other newspaper, the Eagle's Eyes. The Eagle's Eyes is taking us back to Douala to talk about the gesture of an honorable member of parliament. Honorable Dasake provides hugely to Njombe Penja Muslim community. The national member of the National Assembly for the Mungo South constituency has met the urgent needs of the Muslim community of her constituency as they prepare for the upcoming Ramadan celebration. The visit took place recently in Njombe Penja, or in the littoral region of Cameroon. Honorable Dasake Helen Epos Ekoka was given a hero's welcome by the beneficiaries, who were mostly women in her area of command or her constituency. They express their gratitude to their member of the National Assembly, whom they prayed that Allah should continue to protect and give more blessings. Get full details on page 2 of this edition of the Eagle's Eyes newspaper. We end this morning with the Eden newspaper. The Eden newspaper is focusing on a partnership signed between Camtel and Fecafoot. This partnership, according to what we are reading in the newspaper, is to promote corporate veteran football. Corporate veteran football to be promoted by Camtel and Cameroon Football Federation. The deal was sealed recently in Yaoundé between Camtel GN and, of course, the president of Fecafoot, Samuel Etope. Get full details on the partnership in this edition of the Eden newspaper. Rebuilding Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon Steering Committee adopts a fresh people-oriented approach, and this adoption took place recently at the Star Building at the level of the auditorium of the Prime Minister's office, where Balungeli Confiance Ebune, who is the chair of the steering committee of the reconstruction of the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon, chaired that meeting. That saw the adoption of the new plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon. Televiewers, we are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning. We will be joined by Maitre Alex Ndive. Our lines are also open for you to call us and tell us what you think about what is happening at the level of the upper house of parliament, where there is or there have been cases or reports of backstabbing and lobbying groups being formed by newly appointed and elected senators to get themselves to the top, especially at the level of the bureau that is yet to be put in place. Alex Ndive, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Mr. Etape. Good morning to the entire team of My Media Prime. and good morning to the beautiful and lovely people of the Cameroon.
Yes, the bishops of Cameroon have raised alarm over what they term extrajudicial killings of Cameroonians across the national territory. They expressed the worry, that was yesterday, during the 48th, the opening of the 48th plenary session of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon.
I'm happy that it is coming from our citizens who happen to be bishops. I'm very happy because Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, U.S. State Department have made this call several times. And for the sake of our people and a layman, they should understand that extrajudicial killing is the deliberate and willing killing of people without lawful authorization or granted by the judicial procedure. That's a very serious allegation, and I believe the government should look into this. People like the bishop, they cannot just say something and the government doesn't put like a judicial inquiry to find out why these things are happening. It is very dangerous if people cannot trust their own government, because I say extrajudicial killing is like Martinez Zogo, you have Wazizi. There was a young guy who they were arrested, that they were amber in Boya University, one died in police custody. Those things are very dangerous. We have to trust our government, because a government have to maintain law and order, enforce law, provide national security for us. That's their duty. And once they cannot do that, we see people like Mr. Eko being involved in an allegation of killing a citizen. We should all be concerned in that country.
So what is the way forward, Maitre Alex? They are the bishops saying it. What is the way forward?
I already made it clear that if the government is serious, the bishop, they have made an allegation, the government should call for an inquiry, maybe a judiciary-led inquiry by an ex-judge or experienced judge. That's what serious government they do. Because at the end of the day, it is their duty to protect us. If you are afraid of criminals, then you are afraid of your own government, they cannot protect you. So it means the citizens, they are on their own. So the government have to carry its duty. And again, if the government doesn't want to do what the Constitution said they should do to maintain law and order, provide security, enforce law, then it means they are calling for an alternative. They are calling for people who are ready to govern the country. They should give way. It doesn't mean if you win an election, you must stay there until the end of your term. If you have lost that steam, if you have lost that zeal, that power to run the country, sometimes as a good government, you can step down and give it for the good-willing people who are competent enough to run a country.
Maitre, you said government should investigate. This report is coming from men of God or clergymen.
The sound have gone off.
Yes, I'm saying that you're asking the government to investigate. Are you there?
Say it again.
You're asking the government to investigate. Are you telling me that what the bishops are saying, they are not, the facts are not clear? Should the government not just work on the facts?
When you mean, when something happens, in most democracy, even if they kill somebody, the government open an inquiry. It doesn't mean that the facts are not clear. There have to be a process that they have to come and establish it, rather than, that's why we say innocent until proven guilty. If somebody can commit a crime, the videos are there, but it has to go through that judicial process. There have to be an inquiry. That doesn't often happen in our country. I don't see that. It is very important, because we see what is happening in Yaoundé, in other parts of the country. We see people who find corpses everywhere in the street, women being killed. I saw yesterday another newspaper was talking about 52 women killed. So when people die in such mysterious circumstances, it is the job of the government to make sure that the people can walk in our streets safely. It is very, very important. And as I say, the government should not be sleeping. They are sleeping. Any citizen, one life matter. The government have to make the people to be sure that we can walk our street without being attacked or robbed by somebody.
The Upper House of Parliament, where the Guardian Post newspaper this morning is bringing to us a report, let me call it an investigative report, as to what is actually happening shortly after the newly appointed and elected senators received their attributes last Saturday.
I've seen the words used are words that it's a call for concern, because I know in any legislative body, when there is an internal election, there should be a procedure. So when a newspaper, after investigating what is going on in the Senate, they start talking about intrigue, backstabbing, lobbying is a good word, nocturnal meeting, outsmarting each other, is there not a procedure that I will put my hand at, Senator A, I want to stand for this position, and you can lobby.
But it's politics. All means are accepted in politics.
When some of the newly appointed and elected senators, they came recently and said they will put the people's first, the interest of the people. The way we see what is happening, they are positioning themselves for their pocket. They want certain position. They are looking for money. Just how many days they were talking about fighting for the interest of the people? I have not seen that.
No, Maitre. In politics, all means are accepted now. You can use any means to.
Listen, I'm saying.
And when you talk about fighting for the people, don't you think that these people want to be at the bureau so that they will be closer to power, to be able to give back to their various constituencies?
We have had them for Mr. Lasha. We have had them for 2 terms.
But the people coming in are not necessarily those that were there for the 2 terms.
Mr. Lasha, I've seen these people. Some of them, they're talking about their manifesto. They don't make manifesto. They belong to a political party. Before you talk, they should go and read Article 20 and 24 of their constitution and see what their powers are. They promise our people to turn water into wine when they don't have the power to do what they are proclaiming. So they shouldn't be lying our people, because sometimes when they make these headlines, I presume the media, they should come so that the media should scrutinize them. If you are fighting for the interests of your people, what's the first interest to me? If you're from Northwest and Southwest, to debate the Anglophone problem. 6 years, are they doing that?
But are the senators there for that? Are they there for that? The senators.
No, that's the point I'm making. That's the point.
Their duties have been defined. They know what they have to do.
The truth is, Mr. Lasha, if you look at the system, the members of parliament, the senators, they are not representing people. If you look at the law, they represent the country. They don't really have constituency. They were not meant to represent constituency. Like senators, they say they are representing region and local authority. We don't have constituency. We just use the word. Constituency are people that you have to focus on their problem, and those are the people who gave you their mandate and elected you.
No, but we used to have micro project grants that have been taken away, but they used to give them money to go back and develop their communities now.
I've always been against it, because the job of member of parliament is not to take money and go and do development. That's conflict of interest. I've always been against that. Their job is to make laws, and when it comes to money to develop the country, there should be a tender that any person, you, Mr. Etape, everybody, if you're a contractor, if you're an architect, if you're a doctor, you bid for the tender and get the tender. There's too much conflict of interest inside that our National Assembly, both in lower house and upper houses. They shouldn't be doing that. I've often criticized that. It's not their job. They are not contractors, they are not specialists, they are not doctors. So why are they taking the contract? That's why, you see, we always hear less about the interests of the people, what affects our people, or making laws that are beneficial for our people. Often hear less, because it's about the money. And again, our legislative body in Cameroon, Senate and the National Assembly, the lower house, they don't, to me, they don't have a job. Why? In the Western democracy, it is a full-time job. You don't go on one session and disappear. Because our problem, if you have a constituency, there is a problem every day. There's something we call in employment law, vicarious liability. The young guy who passed away a couple of days in Boya, the student, that guy, I saw where that guy passed away. In employment law, it's a vicarious liability. Water cannot be passing on the road. It is a duty of the local authority to make sure that place is well protected. So if it was in the Western world, they will be suing the council for something like vicarious liability. They are responsible, they did not do their job and somebody has passed away. They will be suing them for manslaughter. But we don't see those things until our people, our lawyers, start suing government officials, then they will be able to do their job properly.
D'accord, maître Alex Nguidel. Bonjour, on reste en politique pour parler à présent de l'inscription sur les listes électorales. Apparemment, Élections Cameroun compte sur la digitalisation. À quel point on peut compter sur le digital pour ce qui concerne l'inscription sur les listes électorales?
As I always say, Mr. Etape, this is very important. I've seen people calling that they should come and register for election. When we want democracy, we want transparency. Why do we always say they will open the list for people to register for election? This is what they do. I always copy good things, I always say. In the UK where I live, the council write to you. They make sure every year your name is there. Once you have registered, they just remind you if the same household where you're living, is it the same person? It is a job of the local council. You cannot allow one particular person to have that advantage. The local council should make sure, once as you're at the age, voting age, they should make sure that they put you on the register automatically. It's not up to the opposition. They don't have the money to be canvassing that people should go and register. It is the local authority who register everybody. And it is open 24/7, 365 days. You don't close it, you open it. If today I want to go and register on the registration form for election, I go there today, every day. I don't understand the system in Cameroon that they will have to make sure that sometimes they open the registration list is open, then you close it. Why do you close it? Everybody doesn't have the same time. It should be open all along, every day, maybe with the exception of the weekend. So it's not up to the people. The local government have the budget. They should be one to make sure that all the citizens are registered. And when they are registered, we can have a free and fair election. But when you do this cherry picking, you choose the time when somebody can register, then you close the register. Then people will not have that opportunity to be registered.
D'accord. Merci beaucoup pour cette réponse, ou du moins sur ce décryptage. On va embrayer sur un autre sujet, comme ce que nous propose le journal Mutation en sa grande une de ce matin. Eh bien, les chercheurs se cherchent. Ces derniers n'ont pas eu solution à leurs revendications auprès du gouvernement. Alors, comment comprendre cet état des choses?
Minister Joseph Owona used to be Minister of Scientific Research and Innovation, as they call it. I've often wondered, when I mean in terms of Cameroon, let me lie, I don't really understand what are these people, what are the scientific research they are doing, because when it comes to scientific research, it's about trying to find knowledge, how to solve problems. Example, we have malaria in Cameroon. But the people who are doing scientific research and producing our medication, malaria, are in France, are in other European countries, are in China. So what is the purpose of that ministry? I've always asked that thing. At the end of the day, we see people with rob, doctors, PhD. If you ask me, I don't know. Maybe you, Mr. Etape, you know. Maybe Mr. Lasha, know. Name me one scientist in Cameroon. I don't know the name.
No, there are so many scientists.
No, I said, name me one. I don't know.
There are so many of them naturally. How can you say that? There are so many scientists, some working for NASA, some working...
If you want me to embarrass you, name me one scientist in Cameroon.
You mean the one residing in Cameroon or those that are of Cameroonian origin?
One in Cameroon,
There are so many of them. There are so many of them. There's one...
These are popular people. If you are a scientist, these are people who have that knowledge to change things and bring innovation in
I can't give you those names now, but I promise next time on the program I will give you plus those that are residing in Cameroon.
Mr. Lasha,
yes.
Mr. Lasha, if I ask you who is the governor of Yaoundé or the mayor of Limbe, you tell me. Scientists, we need to know them. These are people who can bring things like COVID-19.
They are there at the ministry. They are there at the Ministry of Higher Education and other ministerial departments concerned.
My point is, what have they discovered? Why are you not making COVID medicine in
Madeleine
Cameroon?
Twente is a scientist. She's a scientist. Madeleine Twente, she's a scientist.
Yes, it took you time. That's why you have to do research and
Okay.
I'm just saying, if I ask you who is the governor of Cameroon, you're from this place, you tell me immediately that these are important people. And what I mean, I don't know them. It doesn't mean they are not existing. Because if I hear that a scientist in Cameroon have discovered COVID medication, all of us will know. That's how you know that there's a scientist in the country. If you know there are scientists making malaria medication, we will know. And again, when it comes to eradication, the government of Cameroon should understand that they don't need to wait for people to protest before they do certain things. It is their job to do certain things. And again, without much ado, I should tell you,
how are you?
the Ministry of
Maitre.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning.
Maitre, let me come back to you. Maitre, let me come back to you. There's a caller on the line. Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Greg Aswapo.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Alex. He cannot ask you to give him the names of scientists. Let him read. If he goes to read, he can find out who the scientists are. He cannot come and sit there and say,
no, his point is that
it's the same as asking.
Are you getting me? Are you with me? Hello?
Yes, please.
His point is that if you are a scientist, they should be able to know you through the work that you have done. That if somebody has discovered something in Cameroon, they will know.
Has he found out if they are not known? Has he found out if not a single Cameroonian scientist is known? Science is not like going to the market today, buy something, cook it. It takes a process. He should know that. I thought he's a lawyer.
Yeah, late Victor Anumangu was one of...
There you go. He was known.
Yes.
How long did it take before people knew about Victor Anumangu? How long did it take?
Maitre,
there are some who have not been known, but they are still there.
We are talking about somebody who is dead. My point is, yes, they are scientists. Why are they not making COVID medicine in Cameroon? Why are you not doing it? Why is it that Chinese and foreign countries are giving you COVID? Where are the scientists? Why can't you make your own malaria medication? We don't have malaria in Europe. I'm not talking lawyer. I'm saying factual information. I'm not here. I've not introduced myself to you whether I'm a lawyer. I'm asking you, why are you not making your own malaria medication?
Do we have the means? Do we have the means? Do we have the ecosystem? Do we have the ecosystem that can breathe such things that you are talking about? Do we have the means?
No, listen, Mr. Lasha, my point is clear. To say that I'm an engineer, but I'm not an architect, but I'm not doing anything. And we have gone that mean that we have looked all over Cameroon. We cannot name a scientist. We are going to name late Anomangu. So it's a person who has passed away who is our scientist. That's a disgrace to me. At the end of the day, my point is, if you ask who is the mayor of Limbe or the governor of Yaoundé, everybody will shout his name. Why do we know those ones? We don't know our scientists. I'm not saying there are no scientists in Cameroon. I need to know. These are important people. Scientists are the brain, are the people who can bring development in a country. That is my point. Scientists, they cannot be clandestine. They are there, they don't talk or whatsoever. That's not my point. If you cannot run your own house, you cannot make all your own malaria medication. Somebody who haven't got mosquito is making it for you. How does that sound? How does that look like?
Maître Alex Ndivé, d'après vos explications, l'on peut comprendre aujourd'hui que le chercheur n'a pas de rôle conséquent dans le processus de développement de notre pays. Est-ce que c'est ça?
My point is very clear.
Ouais.
When I sit on your program, when I come and say, where are our scientists? It's because I want us to see our scientists doing the job. I don't want to, I'm not blaming them. It's up to the government to invest in that field. It's up to them. We might have good scientists, we might have good teachers, good doctors, good things, but when we don't invest on those things, nothing will change. I see every day, we are talking in Cameroon about the private sector. We talk about development. The way you can develop a country is through an industrial revolution. It's not by David. How can you have a private sector? We are still pounding at you with mortar pistol. People have done this different innovative thing. Instead of using your hand, industrial revolution means stop using your hands, start using machines. But we cannot produce those type of things until we have an industrial revolution. We will never develop in that country. It's not about building one tall building or tarring a narrow road. We say it's development until we start putting our things with machines.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Your name? Where you are calling us from?
I'm calling from Musang Baminda.
Okay.
Yeah, Baminda too.
Yes, you read the headlines, the major headlines in the papers.
Yeah.
Which one are you commenting on?
Yeah, there's a simple disturbance because when the guest, the lawyer said that there were no scientists. I'm a retired teacher and a retired engineer. There are things that we don't want to know. And then when we stay out of our region, we stay out of our environment, we say something that nobody will understand because we might be talking because we are there. He might be talking because he's hearing from somebody. But we think that if the regime, because the regime is not a government, the government is us. The regime is not a government, the government is us. And if we cannot do the execution ourselves and try to promote the young ones,
what means do you want the us that you are talking about to do it? What means?
So that is when you talk, they were not scientists and you said they were not producing. Just say the government in place is not implementing the scientific research. Let me take the case of IRA and IRA and IRA, NWCA. These are institutions that have very good engineers that have been doing their jobs, but some of them, like I will manipulate the lawyers, but some of them will sit there, talk, without even struggling to meet the people and try to know what they are intending to do and what they are doing.
But he said his point is that if you are his point is that hello,
a procedure and then now observation before conclusion. But most of them go to conclusions without even needing to know the procedures of what is supposed to have been done and what is not done and why it is not done. What is it saying? So I beg our brothers who are out there in the diaspora to be very sure that before they talk about what is happening at home, I'm not a politician, sir. I'm a screwdriver man. So what they are saying about what is happening here, how many of them, they talk about democracy. Is Cameroon a democratic country? No. We are an African traditional religion. For those of them who don't know our tradition, we do not believe in democracy, we believe in chieftaincies. And chieftaincy is what? They give you a white feather, a yellow feather, a red feather for what you are doing for your people.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I was asking you, the point of Maitre Alex was that if you are a scientist...
Lasha, I would like to give 2 points. What the caller said that we are the government. In brackets, I would say, no, we are not the government. A government is a political authority, a territory, and a government is people who have been given authority to govern a country. So they use that word that we are the government. And anything that we need to do in that country has to be initiated by the government. And we talk about having scientists in Cameroon. Why is it that we are still studying?
Question, please.
Why is it that we are still studying Charles Darwin? We are still studying Charles Darwin, scientists, British scientists, Stephen Hawking, British
Maitre,
why are we?
Maitre, listen to the caller. He wants to ask you a question.
I know him
I
know him as a secretary at the presidency. Unfortunately, there's a problem with the critics. We take our time criticizing without taking our time to analyze and try to resolve the criticism. Don't you all be on the blame game? The thing we do in science, you don't criticize without giving projections. People criticize without giving projections. And I'm so surprised. He's a professor at Brigé. I can't remember met him in the London University. I can't remember I met him in the Ministry of Scientific Research. I can't remember I met him as but I am not a citizen, not a politician, but I'm simply saying that as a scientist, as a teacher of science, who have taught the children in science, I'm retired, but the children are doing work. They used to take their time making the children work by making noises without talking. So I say noises without talking. It's scientifically wrong.
Yes, let me ask you or say what I wanted to say before Maitre can. Maitre, you hold on with your line. The caller, you stay on. I was asking, Maitre's point was that if you are a scientist and you are doing something, people should know you through your discovery. His point is that the scientists in Cameroon, they are not working.
How would they know you through your discovery?
Sorry?
Maitre, I think I see you are young and energetic. How would they know you?
Can I answer the question? Can I answer the question?
Yes. Answer.
Can I answer the question?
Yes, go ahead. Answer.
The question, let me tell you how they know a scientist. Like Charles Darwin was a biologist. He discovered something, they know him. We have Institut Pasteur in Cameroon. He deal with I know Institut Pasteur, the person who discovered Pasteur himself. In 1888, he discovered something about vaccination. They know you by your works, not by going to school and have a PhD or whatsoever. If you discover malaria in Cameroon, I will sit there, I will know malaria medication. If you discover COVID this in Cameroon, I will sit there, I will know. The reason we don't know them because they don't discover anything. I'm not blaming them. In Cameroon, we still learn about foreign scientists. Charles Darwin, Stephen Hawking. It's in our syllabus. How come that we are not studying Cameroon scientists in our science books in Cameroon? I'm not criticizing the people. I'm an opposition leader. My job is what? To scrutinize and to hold the government into account. I'm not criticizing them. I'm looking at their policy. If they are not putting enough investment in Ministry of Science and Technology or Innovation, as you call it, those are the things I'm talking about. I was born and bred in Cameroon. I went to Nursery School Boya Station up to Ngwakele. I'm a Cameroonian. Don't get me wrong. But I've traveled. I've come and see how these people, they change their country. And I'm asking myself, how can our country not become like this country? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not there, you say I'm criticizing. I'm saying we can do better.
Okay,
we can have scientists that can make our own medication. That's what I'm talking about. We don't need to rely on foreigners to be producing our own goods and services. Ever since 1947, you look at the article of CDC, we are still exporting things. The things we produce in CDC, we export it, we don't manufacture it. Why can't we manufacture it? I'm asking that question because I'm comparing two countries, two democracies. That is why. So I want our country to do better. That's why I'm scrutinizing and holding the government into account.
Okay, the caller, maybe the caller should end it.
I'm still on the line, sir.
Yes, conclude, please. We want to take another caller.
I just simply want to make one change that you cannot say what is democracy to African traditional religion or African tradition. I'm not talking about Cameroon in particular.
Okay.
Let me just take the case of where I'm resident in Bamenda, Man's country. And Man's country is different from Quentin country and different from that country. There are certain disparity in it. So you cannot go and bring working world democracy to induce in African traditional religion. Or, I mean, we are Africans. We have our own way. Can we not use our own brain to use what we have? The Americans, the British, the Europeans are doing. It doesn't work.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. There's a key point, Mr. Lasha.
Yes.
The point that the caller made that we have our own way. We don't have our own way. Enam is a French way. École Normale Supérieure is a French way. The things that we are using, all this France CFA is a French way. We don't have our way. I'll be happy if we can use our own African way and quit all this inherited institution we receive from France. We are using the Western old system. What France used to use, they don't use those institutions anymore. We have our own way, preferred from France, unelected governor from France. Those are the old way. That is what we are using to run that country.
Maître Alex Ndivé, peut-être une dernière question. sur ce sujet avant d'engranger d'autres thèmes qui sont plaqués sur les unes des journaux en kiosque ce matin. Eh bien, vous êtes un leader d'un parti politique. Figurez-vous que vous êtes président. Alors, que feriez-vous un jour pour les chercheurs, n'est-ce pas, pour assainir le secteur?
One of the things, as an African, if I look at things like research, let me tell you, I will use this word in brackets. I will copy. People, China is today because they copy technology and information from other countries. It's not a mistake that when we had COVID, you see, Britain was producing something in the university. Let me tell you, our university, one, they must be very autonomous, and the government must fund them to do research. The COVID vaccine was created by what? Oxford University. It's not the government. The government sponsor it. Same in America. Same in China. So our university should be a university that will produce things. They should be autonomous. We should leave it in the hands of.
Okay.
Morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, morning.
Your name, where you are calling us from?
Yes, I'm calling from Linge, from Valentine Bison.
Yes, Bison, good morning. Your contribution?
Yeah, my contribution is that I've listened to the caller. Yeah, good morning. Yeah, my name is Valentine Bison.
Well, you are listening to yourself, please. Can you switch off the TV set and follow us directly on your mobile phone? No, I'm sorry, we have to cut the caller there. Metre, move on with what you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying that university should be autonomous. You see, like in the most Western world, the press is self-regulated. Lawyers are self-regulated. But the government is too involved in our educational system, which is not good. In universities here, you see they will bring people like Alex Ferguson, footballer, to come and lecture there. He did not have PhD. You see Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, they go to Oxford University to talk to the students. But in Cameroon, it is difficult that the government have programmed the mind. That's a system of economic security which was founded in France in 1794. The system, they program people, allow people to think. It is called university. People have to think differently, different way, and come out with solutions. In most countries, all the innovation, they come from the university. But we have Famdongo. You have to give the syllables and make everybody to think alike.
No, but Metre, in the Western world you are talking about, you have theoretical and practical universities. Probably in Cameroon, we are mixing everything.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning to you.
Yes.
Good morning.
Your name, please. Where you are calling?
Yeah, my name is Dr. Anthony from Bamenda.
Yes, how is Bamenda this morning?
Well, we just got up and we're struggling to battle with issues here and there. Even though life is difficult, but we're struggling to make two ends to meet.
Okay. So your contribution, please.
Yes, I've heard you people trying to compare the Western world and the African tradition and all that. Let me also seize the opportunity to greet the barrister from time to time he comes on to be talking to his brothers back here at home, which is a very good thing, to make himself available to his brothers and sisters back at home. But as much as he keeps on making himself available to his brothers back at home, he should also be struggling to see how he can help his brothers of the Northwest and Southwest who have been suffering on this war for 6 years now, getting to 7 years. Some of them are IDPs, some of them are refugees, they don't even have what to feed on, and so on. Barrister, you should not only be talking, but we want to see you active to be able to help your brothers and sisters back at home who are suffering in this war, in this nonsense war that we are expecting it to end and it's not ending.
Thank you, you, sir. Yes, thank you.
Yes,
you have made your point.
What I want to say about this comparative analysis between the Western world and the African milieu is that in terms of medicines, in terms of African medicines, I think the Africans have won the case in terms of medicine. I mean, Africa has actually won the case in terms of medicines. especially natural medicine. We embarrass the barrister that for the first time in the history of medicine, a black African speaking, has done a research for 5 years and developed a diet therapy that is capable of raising a patient's immune system, not only raising a patient's immune system, but raising an immune system of a patient that has to be sustainable for months and for years without descending. And that is what has been worrying Western doctors. Western doctors have struggled by all possible means to see if they could be able to develop something that can sustainably raise patients' immune system, and they have not been able to get it.
Who is that person?
Africans,
who is that person that did it?
In my name speaking, have been able to develop something that can sustainably raise a patient's immune system.
But you were hiding.
Without descending, and that is the core of medicine.
You have been hiding yourself. Nobody.
On medicine, and you cannot prove yourself that you can sustainably raise a patient's immune system. And not only raising an immune system that has to be short-lived, raising a sustainable immune system of patients. Because the majority of patients that get into the hospital today are immune depressed, and you cannot cure those patients until you sustainably raise their immune system.
Okay.
Once you raise their immune system and you apply conventional treatment, their body will be able to be sustainable to cope with Western medicine that have side effects that are so difficult to cope with.
Okay.
So
Africa
actually has won the case in terms of handling patients, treating patients in the right direction. Because what is important in patient care is the diet system of the patient.
Thank you. I've heard. You have made your point.
You have not won the case.
Thank you.
So Africa today has won the case in terms of medicine.
You have made your point, sir. Thank you.
Mr.
Producer, thank you. Thank you. The man, he has made his point.
Just answer very fast because
yes.
It's important. What I just want to say is that you talk about African tradition. I'm not talking about African tradition.
No, say African traditional medicine. African traditional medicine.
I want to talk about medicine. My uncle, late Dr. Guanula, came and studied medicine in 1948 in the United Kingdom and went to Limbe, opened a hospital in Tico and a clinic. That's what people do. And people, if you ask about late Dr. Guanula, you know. My grandfather, Guanula, he was the owner of that old town, the first trader in 1914, the first person to bring a car in Northwest region. And I should tell you, I used to be in that Babenda. I used to fight for the people. Today I look at Commercial Avenue, I look at Sonak Street, there is no road, there is no electricity. Then you come and say African what? We need industrial revolution.
Okay, Maitre.
Industrial revolution.
Our time is up.
It's for all countries.
Our time is up. Thank you for coming. Our time is up. Hoping.
You're welcome. Thank you too.
Yeah, to have you some other time. Thank you to our two callers who call us from Bamenda and Buya to chip in their own contributions this day. Hoping that they will be back tomorrow when it will be 10 a.m. Cameroon time. The program for today was produced by Christain, Tebong, Etape, Quentin, and myself, Lasha Kingsley, were here for the presentation. Bye-bye from this end.